Hey all, before the episode starts, we would like to announce that we are doing a prize giveaway. The giveaway is a $25 Amazon gift card. This amazing prize can be yours, and all you have to do is follow these simple steps in order to enter the giveaway. First, subscribe to the Otaku Crew channel. Next, like this video by clicking on the thumbs up. And finally, comment on this video by writing the hidden message that will show up in the episode in the comment section. Once you complete all these steps, you'll be entered in the giveaway. We will announce the winner by the end of the week, so make sure you're following the Otaku Crew social medias. And now, back to your scheduled episode.
Again, and welcome back to another episode with the Otaku Crew. I am your returning host, Leifon, and I'm the host with the most. This time around, I'm very excited to tell you, guys, that we have guests on the show. Once again, I will be collaborating with Lowe's Fire Studios, now rebranded as BrakeOut Productions. I'll give it first to my boy Brian, the man himself. What's going on, Brian?
Oh, what's up? Oh, thanks for having me and us. Yeah.
Oh, he said us. Okay, who else is there? Show yourself, Mike.
It's me. It's Mike. Brian, don't speak for me,
Well,
okay?
yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I was nervous.
No, it's fine. It's actually weird being part of. This is the first time I've been a part of a podcast that wasn't my own podcast, so this is fun. Thanks for having us.
Of course,
Yeah.
I'm very honored to have both of you. And of course, the lovely lady Andy returns to grace us with her presence.
Yes, the classic, the best.
Of course.
anime weeb here.
You-
Hi.
You carry the faith of all weebs on you, Andy, especially us in the crew, because, you just know.
Oh, the weight is crushing, let me tell you.
So before we begin, I have to, as always, remind everyone who is listening either on audio or when the video comes out to first follow us on our anchor page, anchor.fm. You'll find all the Otaku Crew's up-to-date episodes available to be heard, of course. Our YouTube page, the official Otaku Crew, and of course our most recently TikTok page, the official Otaku Crew. And as always, you can find us with our iconic microphone logo. Now, the episode for today, video games that have become animes or animes that have become video games. Good, bad, improvements, a declined genre, or perhaps even an untapped genre. These are some of the questions the Otaku Crew as well as BrakeOut Productions will be discussing for the length of the episode today. So I'll go first if that's okay with everyone.
Please
go for
do.
Now, it begins with a story that when I was a young lad, I had come across a certain anime. I will not say the name of it, but let's just
Boku
say...
no Pico?
No! No! No, not that one! No!
No, oh god, no. Oh, no.
When's that going to become a game?
Oh boy.
Oh, I'd be concerned. I'd be heavily concerned. But no, basically just had a protagonist and his sick sister going back to the country because apparently the country has fresh air and all that good stuff, which I'm sure it does. But he has so many love interests that each episode, maybe the span of 3 episodes, was him getting with another girl and then circling back to another girl, then circling back and again and again. Now, my young mind watching this anime is confused. I'm like, what happened to Sakura? Wait, you're with that girl now? What's going on here? And of course, later that I learned it's actually one of those dating sim games which became an anime. Now, of course, this is my first exposure to the genre itself. It was a slice of life, thankfully. Not anything like a isekai or harem. That would have just been overly complicated. But with that, it still has me, even to this day, is like, whenever I watch a anime that's become a game or a game that's become an anime, there's always that little confusion that does strike me. It's like, okay, we're following the story. Okay, this wraps up. And now he's back to square one with another girl. I'm like, no transition, explanation, nothing. It's like the scene never even happened.
What a twist!
So I find myself at a loss when it comes to this. So you can say I sort of don't like that type of video games becoming anime archetype, so to say. Because it can be really confusing to follow along when the plot is not exactly straightforward. Just at least in my exposure, I think I've gotten better at it with more recent stuff that's come out. But I'll let my other panelists tell me maybe their first experience with animes becoming video games or vice versa. Brian, what about you?
Probably, I guess the first one that comes to my mind is right now would be Danganronpa, just because that's what currently me and Mike are doing on our channel. Yeah, when a viewer in our community, Panic Lizard, recommended it to us, and we started streaming it, and yeah, I didn't know what this game was, and wow, it opened my eyes. Watching children just murder each other, and the game enjoys it, and it loves it, and it's evil.
Now that's fucked up.
But yeah, that's probably the first one that comes to mind for me.
In the name of a teddy bear, kids are killing each other.
Good old Monokuma. Monokuma! Sorry. No, it's we've been pretty much playing through the Panic's been kind of helping us keep up in order with how we've been playing this game, and we've been going through like the second one, then they had like a side game, Ultra Despair Girls, and then we actually watched the anime, and then now playing a third.
That's the weird thing about Danganronpa is like they don't really make it easy in terms of like the order of how you're supposed to see everything. Like it's almost kind of like Kingdom Hearts like in a weird way, where it's got like the first two games, which is okay, it's easy enough. But then they have the side game, Ultra Despair Girls. And for people who don't know, Danganronpa is kind of like a visual novel. But it has, murder mystery aspects to it and stuff like that. And some gameplay, I guess. But then Ultra Despair Girls is like this weird third-person shooter that takes place between Danganronpa 2 and then like the next game, which you think, whoa, what is that one? Danganronpa 3? Well, it's actually Danganronpa V3, because Danganronpa 3 is an anime. Yes. There's also a Danganronpa 0 that I guess is like a book that comes before everything. I don't know. It's very confusing, but
yeah. I totally I've caught up with the series. You're right. It's very complicated the way that they did it, but I kind of like how the transition between their transition between anime and video game. But even I couldn't follow it because I think I was looking at the animes on Crunchyroll, and I just saw Danganronpa 1 and then Danganronpa 3, and then it's like, where's 2? 2 just doesn't exist because it's a video game.
I totally forgot because I guess that they like made the first game into an anime as well or something like that. So I think that's what the Danganronpa 1 anime is.
Yeah, and then like when they got to the third anime, then they went crazy, and there's like, in a sense, two stories that they separate. One is called like Future Arc, and the other one is like Hope Arc, and you have to like watch them like one after another because how they just intersect, but they're also like, if you go to purchase them, they're separated. So it's just like, like when we were trying to first watch it, I was gonna purchase it because I couldn't find it anywhere online. Luckily, Crunchyroll was at Homeboy and came through, but when I was sitting there trying to figure out how to buy this, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be buying. Like, where's it's just like you said, there was no Danganronpa 2, and I was very lost.
There's no instructions, but either way, it's
to make it even more confusing too, with like the 3 anime and the 2 different arcs, like supposedly, and that's the way we watch it too. The best way to watch it is by like going back and forth between the episodes of each arc. Mm-hmm. So you like watch one episode of the Future arc, then one of the Despair arc, and then it's it's kind of goofy. But it's like necessary to know the whole story because it like ends the like Hope's Peak saga, I guess.
Yeah. It includes all of that story, and then the V3 that you mentioned. Oh no, not like the other Danganronpa game that they came out takes place outside of that whole arc.
Yeah, we're not to totally timestamp this, but we're only 3 episodes deep or 3 playthroughs deep, so we're only like what 3 hours in.
We're
6 hours.
Oh yeah, a lot more than that. No, yeah, we're just before like the first trial.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a long way to go from there.
And that's what we hear.
We've heard. Yeah, I mean, just the prologue was so long.
Oh,
I don't even think we finished the whole prologue in our first stream, and we streamed it for like 3 hours. So yeah, it's a big game.
Yeah, it really is.
You're gonna have a lot of fun. It's so worth it.
These characters are really fun in this one. I like these bunch of characters.
Yes, and you'll love the second one too.
So would you say that the game itself was transitioned into an anime, you think it was a little iffy at best? Was it like a
Well,
good execution?
I think if I want to compare the first video game and the first anime, because those are the same story, I was surprised and actually I liked how true to the video game they were in the anime. But it's the exact same story. It's the exact same format, and so it's like if you play the game and then watch the anime, you're just watching the exact same story. There's nothing like different about the adaptation, really. It's just you get to the story a lot quicker. So if you think the Danganronpa story is really interesting, but you don't want to go through the very long dialogue-filled game, which I personally think was worth it anyway. But if you don't want to go through that, then go into then look at the anime, because the anime will just give you all the information that you need. So
I
overall, I like the adaptation. I think it was really good, but it's nothing It's nothing different.
All right, because I only watched the anime, and so I was curious. Tensa, if he was here, he would have said that, "Oh, I'm trash for only watching the anime. I should have played the game."
You're trash.
Because he played the game and he cosplayed as one of the characters. I forget the character with the afro in the crystal ball.
Hero.
Thank you. That's the one. Yeah, Tensa pulled it off. And that was great. So I would personally like to have gotten into Danganronpa, but if anyone is looking to get into it, in terms of the game first, I would say start with the game. Where should they start?
Yeah.
Because like you guys said, there's no chronological order on some of this.
Well, there is. There is.
You just start with first
One.
Danganronpa Trigger
Yeah.
Happy Havoc, I think is the subtitle of it.
Which funny info, which we found out that it started as a PSP series.
Oh,
So, PS Vita.
Yes,
sorry.
Vita, yeah.
oh Vita.
Yeah,
Get
so
on
like
mobile now.
because of that, I wouldn't say the games translate, because I've been playing all of them on PC, and the first few games that were originally Vita games, you can tell just like the way it controls is just a little bit off, and how some of the like mini games and the trials work. Like it kind of makes sense that it was originally a handheld game. But I mean, it works just fine on the PC. So I think you can get most of those games pretty much on most platforms now. And you just start with 1, 2. You could probably skip Ultra Despair Girls. I'm not gonna lie, that game kind of sucks my. But then you can watch the 3 anime and V3.
Yeah, and then you do the most recent Danganronpa, and then there you go. That's all the games.
It's I don't want to say it's a short series, because I don't think so. It's kind of long, but I think it's a good roller coaster to go through. It's a lot of good like twists and turns. Like, so some of my favorite stuff of that whole entire series is trying to actually figure out the murders and the investigation, because they make you do like kind of like a Batman crime scene. You have to like investigate around, look at things, and I mean, I'll be honest, main character, at least in the first one, kind of an idiot.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, that's unfortunate.
Doesn't notice a lot of main things and can't put simple things together. Yeah, but
no, the game. So, sorry, I don't mean to get into this. We're just talking about Danganronpa, so it's like opening this whole fucking flood of stuff. Danganronpa is a weird series because like it's simultaneously like really intriguing and well written at parts. And then there are other parts where it's like, I have to imagine the game assumes you're an absolute moron, because it'll just repeat the same information over and over. And it's never like the complicated, interesting murdery stuff. It's always like, we've established that this person was in the library. The library? Yeah. Let's talk about the library for 37 minutes. And you're like, oh God, come on, just get past it.
And then once you finally get past that conversation, somehow it's circled back to that library. Yeah. And mind you, that library has no relevance to the situation.
Because one character's like, wait, hold on, back it up. Let's go way back to when we were talking about the library, because I'm feeling weird about it.
The game has its own, I guess, tone to itself, where it really wants to piss you off. Yeah, and it does it well.
I think there's two things about Danganronpa. Is like, one, the biggest appeal to me is the characters. I think the characters are all really like interesting and unique, and if you find like you play a little bit of the first game and you're not into the characters, the series probably isn't going to be for you, because that's the whole series, is these characters going through these scenarios. But But if you do decide to play the games, I actually highly recommend, if you can, playing with like a friend or a partner or somebody, because I think it adds a lot to the experience. Streaming the games with Brian has been super fun because, like you said, you can kind of theory craft and go back and forth and think of like, okay, here's how I think this person was murdered. Here's how I think, or here's who I think did it. And then you can see if you're right. And that's kind of fun.
And then you get to have fun and read the voices and fun voices that you think, It's a good old time. It's a good time. I say play it or watch it. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Well, plot aside, I was actually curious because I find there's multiple levels to when you have an anime game which becomes an anime later. So of course we've discussed the implementation of it, how it can be pretty frustrating going through back to the library and all that, and as well as character dialogue. But what about the art style in comparison to the two? What do you guys think in regard to that? Does the art style in one do better than the other, or both mediums are equal? Curious.
When you're talking about like anime versus a game, there's a lot of like, when you're animating something, there's kind of not shortcuts, but there's things you have to do in order to make like characters move better on screen as opposed to just being static images, which is what you get in the games because it's, a visual novel essentially. But I thought, and again, I can't really even speak for the remake anime of the first Danganronpa. I only saw the 3 anime, but I think they did a good job at like translating that art style over to anime form. But I don't know. I like the art style in the games. I think it's unique enough that like it's stylistically an anime art style, but they have little design choices with how they shade characters and how some of them. I do like how even the designs of characters really fit their personalities. Because me personally, when it comes to character design, I like a more simplistic approach. I feel like less is more. But there are certain characters that are just so bigger than life and out there that their entire design is ridiculous and it just fits for them. So I don't know.
Like
I
Gundam?
think Gundam or Ibuki.
God, Ibuki, yeah.
Total scene chick.
Every character is very different. I feel like the art style is like Tim Burton meets anime.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And they stayed true to it in the anime. The cutscenes for the executions. They basically just made it look a little cleaner in the anime, but they used the exact same scene. Like even the art style is different, it's just cleaner, flows better, and there's just like very small differences, but it's the exact same art style. So I like how they stayed true to that. And it's recognizable because I don't think any other anime I know out there or even video game has the same art style as Danganronpa. So when you see that, you immediately think Danganronpa, at least from our experience.
Yeah, totally. It's very identifiable.
I imagine in those execution scenes, there's quite a bit of blood being shown and all that jazz, right?
It's all beautifully pink.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's the weirdest thing. So, like in Danganronpa games, like it's funny. Like if you've seen, any Quentin Tarantino movie, like the blood's always very like orange looking. Well, in Danganronpa, the blood's like super pink for whatever reason.
What?
The only time that wasn't the case was in one of the arcs in the 3 anime where the blood was actually red.
Yeah,
you remember what I'm talking about, Brian?
Yeah, I think it was the future. I think the future they dropped it for red, but then the despair they kept it to pink, and they actually notice, like you see it noticeably.
Yeah, and
like they kind of make you aware of it.
Like clearly they did that on purpose, but like they don't ever explain why they. I almost wonder if like the pink blood in Danganronpa started as like a censorship thing or a thing to just keep the rating down or whatever, because
I thought it was a censorship thing at first, but I could be wrong. But
you thought it was a what thing?
A censorship. I thought it was for censorship. Just
you know what? And I think it must be. Because in the games and stuff, they even like the main character will be like, "Look at all that red blood," and it's like clearly pink, and you're like, "Oh, okay, well." Either my character is colorblind or no.
I think a couple other animes also pull the pink blood thing for that same reason. I think Ace Attorney also does that.
Yeah.
At least it's not white. And China censorship hasn't taken effect yet.
Listen, that's a style choice.
No, but
Really?
it's funny like how much of that like censorship comes through with like video games that come out of Japan. Actually, like right now on our channel, me and Oktar, another member of Breakout Productions, we're playing Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and it's a DBZ game for those who don't know. And like the characters get like battle damage when they've been hurt bad enough, but for the vast majority of characters it's just like scuff marks and torn clothing. But characters like Piccolo, who have purple blood, he's actually like bleeding, but because it's purple it's okay. If it were red it wouldn't be okay.
That's interesting. I never noticed that.
Yeah, I don't know why that matters so much in Japan, but apparently it does. So same thing too, like they're apparently, I don't know when this became a thing, but they're like not allowed to show people who have like lost limbs in video games.
Yeah,
So
like heads.
or like anything, like Future Gohan usually doesn't, it only has like one arm because you know his other arm gets like blown off. But in video games, even though his like attack animations he only uses one arm, he still has both of them, just because they're not allowed to show a disfigured person, I guess.
Huh, that's interesting.
It's very possible because just to build off of that point, I recall in Ace Detective. No, sorry, not Ace Detective. Ace Attorney. I was thinking Ventura for some reason. In Ace Attorney, I played a bit of the game, very little, but when I saw the anime, they show like his boss is killed, but there's like the body's like slightly hidden behind the desk, and there's like a shadow sort of covering it, so you can't really see if she got stabbed, if she got dismembered. And maybe you guys are probably onto something, that Japan was like, huh, we should censor that. We're like, yes.
That's in the anime?
Yeah, I believe it was in the very first episode. I was like, okay, this is pretty lighthearted. This guy Phoenix Wright, he's my guy. He's just working his way. Oh my god.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to watching the actual anime of that yet. That's interesting. Huh.
I believe that's what happened. It's been a while, but I feel like Andy would know more than I do on this.
And from what I remember, the games are also similar. They don't show the whole thing, but it's like that. You get a really quirky character, and then the violence is just incredible, and they get very detailed with that, which is so much fun. But I think back to the censorship, because I just want to also mention that I think they also do it not just for Japan, but the other surrounding countries. Because I know Korea's censorship is pretty strong when it comes to violence and weapons and stuff. I mean, when I watch Korean horror movies, they blur out the weapons, but not the blood. I don't know. Or like sometimes they blur out the blood.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
yeah,
it's
fascinating.
Yeah, it's weird how like opposite like everything is here in America, for instance, because the censorship in America is almost always about like sexualization. You know, just off the top of my head, the 3DS port, or it wasn't even really a remake, I guess it's a port of Dragon Quest VIII. It censored a lot of like the outfits for like the female party members, because like some of them were like, oh, they can wear like a bunny girl outfit or whatever. But if it showed too much skin, they had to adjust that for the American version. Because here in America, we're real grossed out by too much skin, but you can show as much blood and gore as you want.
Oh yeah, priorities.
Look at them Saw movies.
Yeah,
Oh my
if a character's entrails coming out of them, that's totally fine. But if I see one boobie, my goodness, I'm shutting this down.
Boobies.
Going to freak out if I see a boobie.
It'll hurt my virgin eyes.
So much more interesting to use the pink blood method.
Yeah.
Pink blood, black blood.
That's it. We'll take a note from Japan's playbook, and we'll just like we'll show naked people, but we'll just like I don't know, make them pink, I guess, and it'll be better. Because it's like, no, they're naked bubblegum people. It's different.
It's totally different. These are just Martians.
It's fine. We can see their boobs. That's fine.
Yes, and we'll make a horror dating sim out of it.
Yes.
Wait.
There.
Oh wait. Now that you mention horror dating sim, I don't know how my brain just went to this. Wasn't the Yandere simulator game? Didn't that become an anime? Or maybe I'm wrong.
Did it?
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yandere date that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Notice me, senpai.
Oh, but I hope it did, or I hope it is, because
I'm gonna have to double check this.
The video game got a lot of updates recently, so there's more of a story.
Wait, hold on. So I just looked it up. So there's Lovesick: Yandere Simulator, and Lovesick is based on the game Yandere Simulator, created by Alex, aka Yandere Dev. So apparently there is an anime.
Oh.
I know that was it that Angel of Death got an anime that was like a little RPG game. It's called like Angel of Death.
Star Fantasy Online was a game, then became an anime, of course. That's the thing. At least from my experience watching as many animes as I have, I'm not trying to toot my horn by any means when I say that. It's just there a lot of the ones that have come out are never like at the level of a lot of the more popular ones. Demon Slayer, DBZ, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, etc. The ones that come out never rise to the big three or the top five, etc. Now, why do we think that is potentially happening? That, for example, Ace Attorney, maybe if it was done up a little better or something, I'm not sure. Could it have been at the top 10 of animes ever made? You guys know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I think what it comes down to is that depending on the property, like there's like a main product, right? So, like I think what ends up happening, and of course this is just what capitalism ends up doing to anything, is that like you have your product, say it's a video game like Ace Attorney or like the Pokemon games or whatever, then anything that comes off of that is essentially just advertising for your main product or for merchandise attached to that product, right?
Yeah.
So like talking about like something like Pokemon, I'm sure someone out there thinks the Pokemon anime is incredible, and it definitely has its moments. But like, I went back and like tried to rewatch some of it. I don't know, a couple years ago, and I don't know. I think it kind of sucked. Like, I'd much rather play the games than like watch the anime. I don't think it's that good because it just comes off. Now that you're not a kid, you can look at it and be like, oh, this is just blatant advertising. That's what this anime is for. It's just trying to sell kids games and cards.
I prefer Digimon.
Digimon kid, I see.
Yes, I am.
I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh kid, but I totally agree. There's definitely that part to it, but I also think, well, a lot of the video games that have been turned into animes, I find, are video games that are like the games are really good. They're so good that you can't translate that into an anime. I think Corpse Party. I'm actually going to use that as an example.
Oh,
Corpse Party,
yeah.
fantastic horror game. It's terrifying. It's like it's intense, and a lot of that intensity cannot get translated into an anime because it's dialogue based, it's suspense based, it's longer, and trying to condense all that into an anime. That's why the anime wasn't as scary, or at least in my opinion, it wasn't that scary as the game was. Same goes with Danganronpa as well. So I find because a lot of the dialogue based games you can't use in animes because the most popular animes are not dialogue based; they're action based. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point too, because I think with a lot of games that become anime, like the problem is you're taking away the player, right? Player agency. Like when you're playing a game, you have say in the pacing of stuff. Sometimes you have say in actual choices and how the story plays out or whatever. And when you no longer have that and you're just kind of watching these events play out, it ends up being a lot less impactful. And you don't feel like you get really engrossed in a game when you're the one kind of controlling your character's actions and potentially how the story plays out. So I think you kind of lose that sometimes with certain games that become anime.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, after you.
Oh, I was gonna say real quick, just to quickly pull off like what Mike was saying. Meanwhile, I haven't watched it all. I've only saw like little clips because I'm trying to figure out how to watch it. But like I'm recently playing through the Mega Man EXE series, and the game style kind of does like a Fire Emblem kind of like thing where it's like you have to move Mega Man on this little board and try to get him to kill the people on the other side, and like stuff like that. I feel like would be very hard to translate into like I think an anime. Meanwhile, I haven't seen like the show, but I've seen like little clips of it, and I just feel like there's certain things, that is executed way better with like a player than versus just watching it type of thing.
Yeah, and I think the same flaw works the other way with animes that have video games. Because I find because a lot of the animes nowadays become video games are more action based, so their gameplay is very similar to that of like Street Fighter. or it's really just fighting games. It's like 1v1 fighting games with very minute story. So those don't get popular as well. It's like Mike was saying, there's a capitalist gig with that where it's like they just make the game so that it makes money even though the game's shit compared to the anime.
Actually, I want to actually jump in here real quick. Before we continue any further, I wanted us to take a quick intermission so we can mention the sponsor of this particular episode. So I'll just give it away real quick. Hey everyone, this episode is sponsored by Audible. If you're like me and you want to find yourself a pastime but don't have enough time in the day due to school, work, or commuting, let me present to you Audible. Now, many of you have heard about Audible, but I'm going to tell you a bit more about it. Audible is an American online audiobook and podcast service that lets you enjoy all your audio entertainment on one app, whether it be, for example, a few in my library are His Dark Materials, Percy Jackson, Aragon, Witcher, Lord of the Rings, and many more for you to discover. You can always find audio for books you have been wanting to read or podcasts you've been dying to listen to. You will also find all the Otaku Crew up-to-date episodes lists available on Audible. As an Audible member, you can also choose one title a month to keep from the entire catalog, which includes the latest bestsellers and new releases. If you follow our Audible link, www.audibletrial.com/official Otaku Crew, you can start a free 30-day trial. So go to Audible now and start your free trial. We now return back to your scheduled episode. And we're back at it again. So, Andy, last thing you said was that there is a capitalistic element that drives animes that become video games. And of course, you're right. And Mike actually brought up a valid point that the DBZ games, which originally, well, of course, were originally animes, but how they gained so much momentum to become games like Tenkaichi, I think it was Burst Limit was one of them too. There's quite a few. Yeah. All of them had a momentum because it was pretty easy to follow. It's like you play this character, you go fight this character. And since you knew the story, you always knew what the outcome would be. Regardless if you played a character that beat to the other character wasn't supposed to happen, the cutscene will show you still got beaten. I found there's an appeal to that because you know what's going to happen, but you still go along with the thrill of it because, of course, everyone wants to yell Kamehameha and all that good stuff. Go Super Saiyan screaming in their parents' basement.
Slam their heads against the wall because they're screaming so loud.
That too.
Kids.
Yeah, I think ultimately when it comes to games, because like game design is such an intricate thing, and I truly believe you can make a game out of anything. I mean, there have been so many weird, bizarre indie games that take premises that you would think like, how could you possibly make a game out of that, and they make it work. It's just that unfortunately with so many anime games, they just try to do like the least amount of effort possible. So they'll be like, okay, we'll put together this game super quick, and it's gonna make millions of dollars anyway, and that's really the bottom line. Because you look at talking about Dragon Ball Z, two recent games that came out from that property are Kakarot, which is like a not really open world, but kind of more of an open world RPG type of game, and then Fighters by Arc Systems, which is an actual like fighting game, like true to its form fighting game. And Arc Systems, like those are the types of games they make, and they're fantastic at making them. Like they know how to have a fun gameplay loop in a fighting game to keep things like quick, action packed. They know how to make the characters all very unique but still balanced. So it's a good game, not because it has anything to do with Dragon Ball. It's just because it's a good fighting game. Whereas like Kakarot, though I enjoyed it, like I played that entire game, you can tell that they really didn't care about making a fantastic game. Otherwise, they probably would have just delayed it. And the longer that game goes on, it just like the weaker it gets, and you see them cutting corners. And like even with stuff like that game has a few fantastic cutscenes, but as you get further in the game, there's just less and less because instead of putting in more development time and more money and all this stuff, they made the decision to just be like, look, listen, put it out there. We're going to make the money. It's fine. We're not too concerned about making the best game ever. We're not Miyamoto over here. We're just trying to make some money.
So
it's kind of what it comes down to me.
So it can be argued that it's the name of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super, etc. That's what gives a lot of these games the momentum to be sold because they're basing it off the brand of DBZ.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes for almost any large franchise nowadays that you see. That's like the quality goes, the more popular it gets, which is just, it's unfortunate, but it happens with almost, like I said, anything. But I actually have a curious question for our guests today. So, out of like, is there any video games that you guys have played, anime based or just, yeah, like anime based, but also could be like Western anime based that you think could make a really good anime adaptation, or vice versa?
That's a good question.
It's a loaded question.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, this is kind of sort of a cop-out answer. So I'm a big Dragon Quest fan. It's a RPG series that very old RPG series that inspired Final Fantasy and even Pokemon to an extent. And there are a couple anime that came from Dragon Quest, but they're not like based on specific games. It's kind of their own property. Like there's one called like The Adventure of Dai, I think is what it's called. Dai being a character name, not like The Adventure of fucking Dai, baby. But I definitely think a few of those Dragon Quest games could make for really fun anime, because it's all about adventure and like meeting your party members, like teaming up with new people and exploring the world and seeing diverse biomes and cities and all these things. And I think seeing an adventure anime like that would be really cool for me personally, because I eat that shit up. I should have asked, are we allowed to swear in this? Because like I've been swearing a lot.
You bet your sweet ass.
Sometimes I think it should be okay. Like I think we censor it, right?
Yeah, we'll start censoring the material if we have to.
Just hit me now. I'm like, man, I'm swearing a lot. Is that okay? Like, okay on the stuff we do, but we're not sponsor friendly, so
yeah. Well, you know, we're not PG. Yeah, I mean, I guess to go off like what Mike was saying, I would actually say, I don't know how up to date anyone is, but the most recent Ghost in the Shell, they took an interesting art style choice with this, which I'm all for it. They went with a 3D art style to this new series, and Mike was watching and he was just like, "Oh man, you know that first episode kind of feels a little Borderlands-y," and I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm like, you know, you take that and then give it they did make a game back in the day, but it's no longer in existence anymore. They shut it down, but they made I guess like multiplayer like Ghost in the Shell game. It was called like First Assault. Great game. And I feel like you take kind of the Borderlands and then put it with Ghost in the Shell, and I think you can actually have a really bomb like cool series.
Brian, you were taking the wrong thing. I didn't say the first episode of that series was like Borderlands, like a good thing. Like,
well, yeah, but
I hated that first episode, and I said, "Yeah, it reminded me of Borderlands," and I said that with venom in my tone of voice. And Brian's just like, "Oh, they should do that."
But I'm just saying, like that. I feel like that kind of like style, I feel like could kind of fit with the Ghost in the Shell world a little bit, like how that like.
You think?
Yeah, with like vehicles. With the vehicles, and then like how they do the government agency shit.
I'll tell you what, I only watched maybe the first 2 episodes of that anime, so I don't. Maybe that's just what that whole anime is like. But when I think of Ghost in the Shell, I think of the original movie, and then you know the what was that one anime?
The which one? Standalone Complex.
Standalone Complex. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
those are not like Borderlands in the slightest.
No. Well, that's the thing. They made older games for that era for the Standalone Complex and the second gig. I haven't played them because they're like $300 plus to get your hands on them, and they're like PS1 to PS2. I would love to have them in my collection. There's no way, but like I don't know. I'm just like I don't want to cop out and just say, because the Standalone Complex would be a beautiful timeline to make a game series out. The story in Standalone Complex is just. But I hate to say I hold that series very high up in my list of anime just because you learn so deep about these characters, especially with like Major and Bato, and God, they fleshed them out so well, and that would be, I think, a perfect area to make a game. But I feel like the way that they're doing this new show, I think, could appeal to more of that like Call of Duty, Borderlands bro kind of market. That's I feel like is kind of brewing. Yeah. I feel like that series could be an easier way to get people in. I feel like.
See, if I'm looking at marketing, I'm surprised just for your own personal taste. I'm surprised you didn't say they make like a Deus Ex style game out of Ghost in the Shell.
Oh God, yeah.
'Cause I think that would work really well.
Cyberpunk was supposed to be that for me, Mike, but it lied to me.
It lied to all of us.
I knew you was lying. I knew you was lying, man.
Yes, that was supposed to be my Ghost in the Shell.
Cyberpunk was supposed to be a lot of things, Brian.
Oh, God.
I'm actually surprised.
Now's the time for healing.
I haven't healed those wounds yet.
I'm surprised, Brian, that you didn't say you like so far. At least from you, out of your mouth, you have not spoken. Oh yeah, the One Piece game. I'm like, he didn't mention this.
Well, see, One Piece. Some of the One Piece games to me are kind of interesting. Like, I like the Pirate Warrior ones. Those are fun. Those are just Dynasty Warriors. I eat those shits up. Like, I have the Zelda ones. Oh God, I've played so many of the original Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. But like I haven't played the World Seeker yet, but I've heard it is so barren. Like, it is very empty looking. It's very depressing, and like a lot of the other One Piece games that I have played, I feel like a lot of them are rushed. Besides the one that I have on my like Switch and Vita and so many other platforms, the what is it called? Red, I think it's called on the PS3. That one I would probably give a pass, but I don't know. Some of the One Piece games I kind of feel like were just half-ass put together. Like one on the GameCube is literally just a Mario Party clone, and it plays very roughly.
That's rough, buddy.
But yeah, like I don't know. But keep in mind, I haven't played a large library of them. I just, like I said, I've more played their Dynasty and Pirate Warrior ones, and then that's kind of it. Actually, now that I think about it more.
All right,
the only One Piece game I played was that Burning Blood game, but you made me stop because of
that
spoilers.
one too. Well, yeah, because it was in a important part of the plot, and I couldn't let you see that. I forgot about that one. Yeah. That one.
I literally got this game. I'm like, oh, One Piece game. I'll play it. Play like 30 minutes, and Brian's like, no, uninstall it.
I yelled at him.
Just bust into his
It's
room.
like I'm ever gonna watch all of One Piece, Brian.
You will with me, damn it. I'm actually catching up now. I'm finally catching up.
We've been hearing this for 5 years, man. You keep saying I'm gonna watch it.
No, I finally am. I'm on episode 779.
Oh, you got a ways to
I
go.
haven't even made the whole cake yet. I'm so behind.
The amount of episodes in that show literally make me want to vomit. Like it makes me like I think about it, and the anxiety makes me want to puke.
It's a great show.
All right.
Yeah, well, the first 100 chapters or so have not been amazing to me. So,
well, Alabasta is like a long drag to like get through. It's long. I know. I feel for
a
you.
long drag to get through. Again, it's Stockholm syndrome. You've been with it for so long that you have to love it.
Yeah, true.
All right,
it's like me with Dragon Ball. I get it. Dragon Ball's not for everybody, but it's for me because I've been watching it since I was 6.
What about you, Andy? I'm curious your take on what anime you would want to become a game or vice versa.
Well, I don't know because, well, actually, I was thinking about, oh God, it was right in my head too, but a different game kind of kicked it out of my head. So I don't know if any of you guys know the Professor Layton series.
Oh, yeah. Those are great. I haven't played a lot of them. I watched them. They're fun.
I think that because it's so similar to Phoenix Wright, and it's such a unique art style, I think it would be very interesting if they made that into an anime. Like, not even a large anime, just like something small would be really cool. And I also thought that maybe Genshin Impact, I could see that potentially. Like, that could.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's so popular.
I bet that's going to happen. I would put money down that that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same. It's that. Yeah, so that was the other one I'm thinking. But Professor Layton, that's like only top tier people know who that is, know what that is.
That's a good series. I forgot that series existed. Wow.
Oh, I replayed the games every once in a while. It makes my day. It's so nice. That and this game I played a while ago called Time Hollow. It's another anime game, but it's really, I like it because it's this kid. He inherits this pen that allows him to make portals in time, and he uses that to solve mysteries. And of course, he keeps changing the future and like causes more problems. It's a very interesting series or like a video game. So that would make a fun anime, and it's attractive too. Like the characters are hot. So.
Oh, behave.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. It's like JoJo.
Like dating them hot, but hot. Like, yeah, they're all cute and like they all like badass looking. So I'll take that. So that would be interesting. But that's a very obscure video game.
Can I get a Devils a part-timer, but mix it with Yakuza gameplay?
Oh my god, yes. Yes.
That'd be
Where do I put my money? Make it happen.
I'm still waiting on. It's gonna sound so basic. I want games based off Studio Ghibli movies. I really want to see that happen.
That's never gonna happen. Ever. 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 Ever.
Yo. I mean, it's not based off of a movie, but if you played, oh my god,
Ni no Kuni?
Brian, you know the Ni no Kuni, yeah.
No.
Oh, you should play Ni no Kuni. It's
that right
wonderful.
there. Yeah.
It's a JRPG, but it's like
So
made by
charming.
Studio Ghibli. Like it's in that style. It's gorgeous to look at. It's a very charming game.
Is that the new one?
Yeah, they made a sequel recently. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
I know what I'm doing this weekend.
There was going to the store, be like, "Give me all of your Neokuma. I need them all."
I need it!
Sir, you just need one. I need them all.
Kids in front of me, I just move them and it's like, it's for me. And then you'll never see, I won't see the sun for maybe months.
Yeah, I'm never gonna see him again, guys. Thanks a lot.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
Nero's gonna personally fund the third Neokuma.
Ni no Kuni.
Neokumi, sorry.
You're
Neokuma.
mixing it with Monokuma. Danganronpa has ruined your brain.
That'd be all my money. Love those games.
Well, so I believe we've reached the end, guys. We had a fairly good discussion. I was happy to have, of course, my boys Brian and Mike on the show for today's episode. But before we wrap anything up, do you guys have any parting words? Anything you'd like to say?
Sure. Yeah. Well, number one, thanks for having us. Sorry, I've got a potty mouth. But yeah, I don't know. Follow Breakout Productions on stuff. We're around YouTube, Twitch, stuff like that. Oh, hey, speaking of anime and anime related stuff, I mean, outside of us playing all the Danganronpa games, we do a dumb parody called Fyro Anime on our channel. It's fun. So, hey, maybe more of that will be coming out soon. I don't know. We'll watch it. Maybe.
Never know.
I don't know.
I'm in it for Professor Snape. You know that. It's spot on.
Professor Snape.
I'll say check out Fyro Anime. It's a great series that Mike here has been working.
It's an okay series. Don't talk it up too much.
It's good and it's great, and I will butter it. I will butter it and toast it.
It does the job.
It is great. But go check out Fyro, and we got a bunch of other little goodies. And thank you so much for having us, guys.
Of course, I will put the link in bio when the episode is published, whenever that is. But with that being said, we will be wrapping up today's episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in on either audio or their video devices, be it on whichever platform you decide to watch the video on or listen to the video on. And of course, I always implore everyone to follow us on our Instagram, Think Otaku Crew, Twitter, Think Otaku Crew, and Facebook page, The Official Otaku Crew, for all of our daily posts and the public server, which is open to everyone to watch Tensa and him posting his memes and the usual shenanigans. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us, and I'll see you next time.